Hello and welcome. I'm Barry Rosenberg with Breaking Defense. Joining us from Maximus is Michael Sieber, Senior Director of Cybersecurity for Defense, and Frank Reyes, Cloud Solutions Leader. We're going to be talking about enabling multi-domain operations with data protection, cybersecurity, and cloud computing. So thanks, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here, Barry. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Barry.
So the first question is about the importance of modernization and cybersecurity for cloud operations. Explain the real-world challenges that the DoD is facing today with respect to edge devices in particular, such as counter-UAS.
I think when we're talking about those systems at the tactical edge, we're talking about things like counter UAS systems, ISR platforms, tactical communication systems that are crucial for operational success. These systems now face a very unique physical and cybersecurity threat that require active protection across the board. So when you take a look at that from a cybersecurity lens, we're dealing with advanced adversaries that have shown capabilities in jamming, hacking, exploiting into and hacking into systems and things like that. So with that, I think it's important from a cybersecurity perspective that we're looking at ensuring secure data that are transporting and being utilized and going across those different systems to make them work. And then we're really looking from a physical perspective at electromagnetic signature obfuscation. For example, things like reducing the digital footprint of a system so that an adversary can't detect it at the tactical edge and then exploit what it's being used for, whether that's through jamming it or modifying the data so it's not usable on the at the tactical edge.
With everything that Mike said, this is a different paradigm from how we're typically looking at IT security and delivering the cloud, right? Here, normally in our daily operating environments, we have the benefit of having it usually on our home soil with and individuals here in the country operating that. But the proximity to our potential adversaries brings in that uniqueness. So much of the things like Mike mentioned, how do we start incorporating encryption and intrusion detection systems, having it right there where you're going to need it and being able to sense that. And so for the DoD, that really does translate into an imperative to accelerate their cloud modernization efforts so that both the systems are interoperable, that can take advantage of the encryption and intrusion detection, but they're also hardened against all of these threats and future threats.
So good scene setting there. Let's discuss now how these things can be operationalized. So what is the real world IT aspect and challenge to modernization in this respect?
Yeah, so from my perspective, right, being the cloud guy here at Maximus, first is cloud migrations, right? Moving the systems from legacy systems on premises to the cloud is going to be your first logical way of thinking, how can I modernize my IT to be more effective, unlock the potential of additional security tools and frameworks. The second is thinking about how you're going to develop applications to operate in a hybrid cloud environment. We definitely understand that some applications and data have to stay on premises or in a specific data center and can't always go and be operated in the cloud for a variety of reasons. And so having your applications and your data and know how to gracefully transition for those, I think is going to be the second main area. And then as we mentioned earlier, right, we talked about in your first question, the edge computing is really going to be where the third area where they're going to have to look at how are we deploying some more of these computing resources closer to the data source to minimize the latency and enhance the responsiveness of those applications for things as real-time threat analysis and, as you mentioned earlier, counter UAS operations.
The services are really getting after this. For example, the Army has made a network command and control the centerpiece of mission command for command and control communications across the board. So the way the Army is approaching it, they're looking at command and control fix and command and control next activities, where they're looking at fix at addressing the existing systems that are at the tactical edge. And then next is looking at next generation, the things that are going to be there that can benefit from data convergence down the road. So when you look at that C2 next focus, they're looking at really identifying and figuring out a way to have scalable, data-centric command and control systems that are really the centerpiece for multi-domain operations. So with that, I think that they're focusing on data standardization and data convergence to facilitate those multi-domain operations. So in order to get there, I would say that really kind of focuses on data transformation. That means standardizing data from data formats, protocols, and even security practices across the board so that you can transport that data to the tactical edge.